Wow. Today really excited. I got a really good friend here with us today. Incredible just person, super creative in all aspects of life. So I'm super excited to have my next guest here. It falls right into the theme with my podcast, Going Rogue with Wes. Somebody kind of operates outside of the wires of life, kind of does his own thing, walks his own path, travels up that mountain. So Johnny's right in theme with what we'd love to have here on this podcast. So I'm really excited to have him. Johnny's done movies. He's an actor. He's a creative. He's a musician. He's a philosopher. He's just a great person and has amazing projects behind him, including his newest movies, Wars 1, which has already been out, and Wars 2, which he's working on now. So without wasting too much time here, because I have some things I'd love to talk to Johnny about. Welcome, Johnny Strong, to the Going Rogue with Wes podcast. Welcome to Austin, and always good to see you. So.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely. Well, so I'd like to get kind of into some of your mindset, the stuff we were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and how you prepare yourself for your day-to-day activities in your creative, in your writing, in your life, in your family, in your music. What drives you? What drives you and inspires you to come up with these projects?
Well, I think, if you go back to just so that when I was a kid, I think at the end of the day, it's not something there's a driving force behind it that I really can't explain. Like, I don't know why I want to create. I don't know what it is that motivates me to, I don't think it comes from me. I think it's from like the outside and as an artist, right? I'm just an antenna. You know what I mean? So I'm picking up the frequency of that God energy, of the creative energy, and it's filtering through me. And I'm just a vessel for that creative energy to come through, you know? And I think that's, at the end of the day, true artists, you know, are antennas. As a young man, I think I was confused, thinking it came from me, you know, that I was the creator of those things. And now in my life, I realize that creative energy, that God energy, is out there, and I don't even have the words to explain, like the ether or whatever that would be considered. And I'm just picking up on it, you know, that frequency. I can just kind of tap into that. And for me, my drive, I would, the word I would choose is my drive, or my sort of prime mover, is to pick up on that frequency and be as pure as possible in the deliverance of that frequency, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so my projects, whether it be Warhorse 1, or drawing, or painting, or sculpting, or making music, or whatever it might be, is trying to honor that gift. It's a gift, you know. I was so arrogant as a youth, thinking that it was me. That's not me, you know. This comes from the outside, and I'm just an instrument for God's creative energy.
Yeah, no, I think you hit that really well, and that in itself is kind of a lost art, in my opinion, of people not feeling that vibration, that energy, that antenna, as you said, which is both internal and external. I think, and a lot of people live in the external world where they're searching for things outside of themselves, and when they go in and find that truth, and connect to this greater thing that's calling to them, they can find that gift that's there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have the gift. They just don't know how to embrace it. They look for it everywhere else.
Our world doesn't foster that. It doesn't support that kind of existence. We, the architects of modern society, I don't think they wanted us to be focused on our spirituality or finding a purpose in this life or answering a calling. I think it's more the architects of our modern society. In a lot of ways, it's that like kind of like if I drew you a picture of like the concept of when we were kids and we were in school and we got taught about ancient Egypt and these slaves like pulling these massive rocks to build the pyramids for the kings, right? Or the pharaohs. It's really like a kind of modern version of that where our society fosters like the worker bee mentality. They don't want us to think in terms of spirituality or like a higher purpose or tapping into the God energy or that creative energy. They want us working in a cubicle, typing on a keyboard to keep the cogs of this machine moving, So for some of us, you just have to break out of that. I consider myself a pirate in a lot of ways or outlaw in a lot of ways where schooling like teaches you like fall in line, answer these questions, sit down, shut up, sit in your chair, get out of the sunlight, that kind of like really like this kind of modern slavery of like being part of a cog in a machine. And so for me and my family, we don't fall in line with that.
Rebellion is the ultimate freedom.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I love you and your mindset and what you're about, and not falling into that cookie cutter way of what is success, what is creativity. You do your own thing and walk your own path, and that's what creates the truth, the uniqueness of this gift, which, like you said, the system is against that because they don't want free thinkers. They don't want people utilizing that power within and connecting to what is the truth. They want to be told how to do that. And so that's what I love about your projects, your music, your philosophies, and your movies have metaphors behind them. Almost everything you do, there's a reason behind it. You're not just putting out something that looks cool or this will feed the masses. You're putting out something that you feel is truthful within and following that guidance that you're radiating. And I find that a lot in your projects, which is cool and is rare, especially in your world of making movies. There's certain standards and guidelines to go by. You've kind of you've broken away from that. Fallen into some of the projects. You've done amazing stuff with, the Black Hawk Down and working with Ridley Scott and, the Fast and Furious stuff and all your other projects. You worked in a lot of diverse environments. At what point did you say, you know what, I want to kind of break away from this when you could have ran with that all day and have just did what you were told and be that cog in their machine?
Sure. Yeah.
Like what broke you away from that and said, this isn't for me anymore. I want to do Johnny Strong stuff and follow that path?
I'd say, in my experience, my time in, I use the term Hollywood, right? And a lot of people look at where films are created as Hollywood, right? But it's almost like when you talk about the government in a way where you say they, well, who are they? Who is Hollywood? But in my experience, Hollywood, man, there's a lot of demons in Hollywood. And growing up there my whole life, being in the movie business, I was repulsed by the people and the personalities and the attitudes that I thought. I grew up thinking like, this is great. Like as a kid, you grow up in it. And then once I was in that machine, I realized that, I didn't fit in that machine where, you know, even now to this day, you know, where people that I thought from Hollywood were, you know, friends. Oh, man, that term is such a strange term, friends, you know, like, it almost seems like, that word friends, like that's not really what that is. Like there are people you meet in this life, in my experience, that become your brothers or your sisters or your family, or like people that not the ones you're born into, you know, the ones you connect with in life. And people I thought were my friends that would be there for me, or you know, that I thought that I was close to, was not that. Like it's like almost like a facade that's created where you get on a movie set and you meet people and it's like, hey brother, fuck, you know, hugging, all this kind of stuff, and man, we're bros, da, 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 da. And then you realize that these people aren't connected with you. That's like this kind of fake connection that's like created. I don't know what it was, but man, I did not like it. I did not respond to that. And I was like, man, these people are full of shit. And they're fucking, a lot of them are demons. And so, but I love creating. I love art, and I love that experience of, you know, the God energy giving me a vision and allowing me to facilitate that and create something like that, whether it be with music or film or whatever it might be. And for me, I realized in order for me to fulfill my destiny, and fulfill my purpose here on this planet, was to get out of that fucking place and just do it on my own. And there were so many people like, and looking back, these are demons. They're like, oh, you can't do that. You have to do it within this structure. You have to, like, you know, these kind of falsehoods that are like created to sort of try to almost deviate you from the true path. They want to convince you, oh, you can't do it like that. This is how you have to do it, or whatever it might be. And I remember I woke up and I was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm just going to do it on my own. And I didn't have an editor. I didn't have somebody to color the movie or do the special effects, or to do this or do that, or to write it or whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to write it, produce it, score it, edit it, like just do it all myself, you know, like basically create my own destiny. And my first film, Warhorse One, was that project for me. And it was almost like a trial, you know, like, is this possible? Can you do that? You know? And when I was a kid, like the guy that really, I believe that was like, I'm now starting the sort of apex of my my career. I'm like starting to reach the sort of pinnacle of what I've always wanted to do. It was a guy named Charlie Chaplin, who was like, wrote it, produced it, directed it, starred in it, did his own stunts, did the music for it. Like, that guy was a true inspiration. When I realized that was possible, I was like, that's what I want to do. And so it's just taken me this long to get that shit done.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think it comes down to like integrity too, and following you extreme integrity of not falling into the system where everything's could be the golden path to having everything you wanted externally, but you're not being fulfilled on the internal side.
Yeah.
And that comes through a lot in your projects. You could see that. And that's rare these days. And I think so many people need to embrace that more. So,
but you can feel it.
You can feel it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's and it isn't for everyone, you know, and, I want to make that clear. Like when there are some people out there that, maybe they watch one of my films or whatever it is, and they don't feel it. Just so you know, it's not for you. It's not for that person that ain't going to feel it. It's for the people that do feel it. And that's okay. You know, when there are people like, oh man, your movie sucks or whatever it might be. Okay, it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But
There's
for
a
the
lot of people that love it, yeah.
But for the people that go, you know, they'll write to me or comment or whatever it was, you know, these amazing messages of like, wow, your movie really moved me and it helped me through a period of my life or whatever it might be. That's who it's for, you know?
Yeah, no, that says a lot. And just my limited experience with you and on things that I've gotten to know you, it's comes through in everything that you do, which is also inspirational to, I think, folks that are resonating with that message.
Sure.
You know, so it's also it's kind of a guiding light in ways for a lot of folks that might be stumbling or might be questioning things, to say, hey, this guy has done it. This guy is following his path and he's making it happen, and not being for everybody. You know, and it's the same in business. It's like, okay, this isn't for everybody, what we're doing, what this is about. Fine. You're not trying to go after everybody.
Well, some people are. Whereas there are some companies that go, how do we make a pizza for everyone? How do we make a movie? A lot of times that's what Hollywood's doing. It's like net fishing. Mm-hmm. They're trying to cast the widest net that they possibly can with what they're creating. McDonald's, they ain't making specialty things for people. It's for the masses. No. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are filmmakers that are doing that. And remember, like a script in Hollywood or film in Hollywood, it goes through like 15 different writers and a few different directors that are brought on that fall out of projects, new directors, new actors, all that kind of stuff. It's a committee-based project where everyone's pushing and pulling it to try to get, and that's why most movies are terrible. Yeah. Is because it's a fucking committee of people.
I tried to watch one the other day. It was a Mark Wahlberg film, and it was too actiony, I guess you could say. There was so much action going on that there's no real thought behind it. It's just a lot of bullets flying, cars doing 360s, the whole 9 yards. And it's like you said, it's hard these days to find a genuine film that you could tell that they put together with true feeling behind it. I'll tell you, versus just making money.
I think, in my opinion, right, like if you wondered what my thought was on it, is that today it's about disposable content. They're not trying to take the time to create something that'll move people or resonate on a higher level. It's almost like, as I was saying earlier, the support, the fostering is not for that type of project. The support is really like, here's some mindless entertainment to take your mind off of something just for like 2 hours. Yeah, it's like all disposable, like quick content. And that, and I remember a good friend of mine said to me, while I was making my sequel, Warhorse 1, Chapter 2, can't tell you the real title of it yet. I actually had a fake title called Badlands, and Hollywood swooped that up with the Predator movie that's coming out. Paul texted us that.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I put fake titles. So the real title will come out probably like right before I release the film.
But it will be like Warhorse.
It'll be Warhorse 1, and then there's a title underneath
with the title. Okay, got it.
So
Badlands.
Right now, Badlands was the sort of fake title that I was working with, and then but I call it Chapter 2 now.
Okay.
But my buddy said to me while we were making the movie, he was like, "Oh man, I'm just excited to make some cool content." And I pulled him aside and I said, "Man, I don't make content. Like, that's not what I do. Like, my purpose here on life is to make films." When I grew up, there were filmmakers way back in the day, like early 1900s when I was born, but people gave a shit. People cared. And it's like, really, films are the youngest artistic medium. Sculpture, dance, music, all this shit is painting. It's been around for thousands of years. Movies is really in its infancy. And in that, original kind of like filmmakers back in the day, they gave a shit and they wanted to make something special of this art form. And we've lost a lot of that, where there are people that, have come in on the business side, like a lot of middlemen and people that just want to use it as a means to net grab as much money as they can. That's not what I do. I want to make something special, something beautiful, that's meaningful, that out of that art form, like some people can look at a painting and just be spiritually moved by it because it was a gift from God. That's how I approach my filmmaking.
Yeah, no, you've probably seen it. It's one of the first captured films ever made, and it's a black guy on a horse just
Oh yeah.
running. Like,
Yeah.
it's just cool. It's still captivating. Even it's old. It's nowadays looks very basic, but you could watch that and you could see what was behind that, or the Chaplin films, and you could see there's true creativity there and meaning in it. And I think you, of course, fall right in line with your projects with that. You know,
Sure.
which is rare these days. So I think that's why people gravitate towards that. People like even myself, like I enjoy a good film that has something behind it. And
Well, you and I connected on this movie, you know, my first film, Warhorse One, where that's kind of how you and our paths intersected. And I think at the end of the day, it's people that want to give meaning and purpose to their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people are like that, man. They're just waking up to follow the ant trail to whatever piece of sugar there is and then bring it back, like just that mundane kind of meaningless life. Some of us, you know, are trying to make this thing special, because our beautiful little existence we get is a gift. And if you don't honor that gift, then you're just wasting it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that about you too. When you're working with different folks in your projects, you're very passionate about kind of who you allow into that. Like, how is that part of your process when your work is, as you know, you can't do everything by yourself. You have to have different people involved, and you seem really intimate with the folks that you allow into your projects. And there's a process behind that. And maybe that's, like you said, you connect with different folks, say this would work well with this project, versus here's a big name, here's, you know, what this person can bring to the table as far as getting this out there. Like, you just follow, you know, and that brings, I think, the originality of what you're about, what you do in your projects. It comes through in that, in your movies, and the metaphors behind it, you know, with Warhorse One. And I know all two and your future projects have, like, there's a message behind it. It's not just cool action. There's actually, and I've heard it myself. I have people have hit me up and said, man, I saw Warhorse One, guys that are going through issues or, you know, all kinds of stuff from international, from all over the place. So that's, and it's usually, I've had people come to my shop even talking, and it's the kind of people that resonates with your type of message. So it's definitely working, you know? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, it's difficult, you know, making a film. Like, it takes, the old adage is it takes a village of people to make a movie. Okay. I have a much smaller operation the way I make movies. There are Hollywood movies where it's like fucking thousands of people involved in one movie, which at the end of the day too, it's like you have to look at that, even though that stuff is disposable content, a lot of it, it's an industry. They're there to support all these people. So it's like 5,000 people all getting a paycheck to show up to work and go feed their families and stuff like that. And for some people, if that's the way they want to live their lives, that's fine. Like, go ahead and do that. Then there's independent movies where it's like, it's a half and half thing. Like, some people want to make art in independent movies, and some people just wish they were making Hollywood movies. So it's a kind of split. But what I do is guerrilla filmmaking. Like, I take more of the guerrilla filmmaking approach when I make a movie. And I wish I could have all just beautiful angels working with me, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's like you meet somebody and they fulfill a purpose to get a job done. I wouldn't spend a moment of my life with them beyond that, but it is what it is, you know? In a lot of aspects, if I can get it done, I'll do it myself, because that's the way I like to operate. You know, I could give you examples of like being on a set and having a camera person tell me that we can't get a shot the way I want it. And I'll walk up and say, give me the fucking camera. And then all of a sudden, all that bullshit that was just told to me that we can't get a shot, then it's like, no, okay, fine. Okay, we'll get that shot. And not just because I want to demand things, but because I want to learn how to do every aspect in order to achieve my goal, right? To facilitate that vision. And so I want to know how to make the camera do what the camera needs to do to make that vision come true. I want to know how to do that for the actors. I want to know how to do that for the writing, for the music, for every aspect of the filmmaking process, so that I know I can be on a set and say, hey, this is the kind of shot that I want. And if somebody says, oh, we can't do that, da, 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 I go, here, give me the camera. I'll show you how we do that. I'll show you how to make that happen.
Yep. I think that's the process of like the envisionary. Like you have that, you are the only one that has that true vision of how that needs to happen. And it resonates with a lot of, I've had that like somebody say, oh, that we can't do that or this. I'm like, let me show you how to do it. And I'll just figure it out, you know, and I have the vision so to follow that is, and I was going to ask you, that was one of the questions I had on here was, are there times when you're on set or you're on set and you're trying to get a shot or you're certain situation and you have the script all out to how you're going to do it? Do you ever change that on that moment? Like, man, I just saw something.
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes, so I'll hand draw all my storyboards. Like for this film, I did like over 300 storyboards for the movie, and I'll say to whoever I'm working with, this is the shot that I want. And sometimes they can figure that out. Sometimes I have to show them how to figure that out. Sometimes I'll be in a situation. I go, man, here's a good little side note is like, so I'll draw something and that's a vision that I'm getting. And then on set, we'll shoot it and it's flipped. So originally how I saw it was one way. And then maybe I just received that vision like kind of a, like it's frequency. Sometimes there's static in the frequency, so it's flipped the way it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
But yeah. And so some people, man, I wouldn't spend another second with them after having them come in and work on a project. And some people, man, I've been so blessed. You are one of them. Paul's one of them. I could make a list of people on this film that I've worked with that are just outstanding people, man. I'm super stoked and honored and blessed to be able to have them come collaborate on my project. John McPhee's one of them. You're one of them. There's a lot of dudes and people that have come on board. It's a pirate ship, I invite people on. I'm like, hey, we're gonna go sail some rough seas.
It's an adventure.
And listen, some of them walk the fucking plank, motherfucker. Walk the fucking plank. You know what I mean?
I remember one of the stories you told me.
And at the end of the day, that's okay because I'm a pirate.
Yeah.
And that
things have to get done.
And that's just the pirate life, yo ho. And at the end of the day, I feel a lot of people, may get wounded from bad things happening and overjoyed from good things. To me, it's all just part of the process, and in my experience, I've learned how to suffer, and I enjoy it. Some people don't want it. They're like, man, I want to take this gi off. It's too hot in here. Or I want to take this backpack off. Or, oh God, why is this happening to me? This thing fell out or whatever it might be. Man,
the suffering is the growth.
This is the growth, and this is how you become stronger. And this is like a lot of people are avoiding that. Every single day they wake up in their cars, they're driving, they're trying to just avoid suffering. For me, it's like whatever God wants to hit me with, let's go.
It's funny you say that. When I was thinking about this morning and just the overall concept of what this is about, what your projects are about, and you as an individual is in line with the myth of Sisyphus, the man punished to carry the boulder continuously up a mountain, never reaching the top. It's his life forever. Yeah. But it's in that process. He loves it. It was supposed to be his punishment. Yeah. But he's continually to push. And in that push is the journey, is the happiness. Sure. If you look at it that way.
If you can learn to love suffering, no one can use it against you as a weapon.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so for me, that's part of my, that I institute that in all aspects of my life, and I try to teach my children that. And at the end of the day, man, this is all we get, this life. So if you don't learn to love the suffering, it'll beat you down,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's part of the process.
And then you grow and you get better. You get stronger.
Absolutely.
You learn something.
Yeah.
If life is all...
and then you fulfill this existence where it's like, you know, I've always said, I want to die tired. I want to die tired, exhausted, and ready to go, man, you know? Yeah. And people avoiding suffering, they're going to fear that death. They're going to fear it, you know? Because at the end of the day, this is, you know, we get this one experience. So live it to the fullest, you know?
Yeah, no, you nailed it, dude. And I think so many people forget that. It's so easy to forget. Another thing that I loved about your projects and what you're doing, talking about these things, is the doors you also, you know, in growth, you grow others, and then it transpires into a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But you've been very good to a lot of people, opening doors and possibilities for them on your projects. You know,
Sure.
You've been very... you've given a lot of people opportunities to explore different avenues of this adventure of life
Sure.
that they normally would not have. So I find that really cool with your projects, that you share that piece of the journey of give them a spot on the pirate ship to
Sure.
go on this new adventure. You know, I find that with your projects is also inspiring and powerful, because that empowers other people.
Sure.
You know,
A good buddy of mine, right? Michael Sowers, I'll say his name. Fucking awesome dude, man.
Yep, I know who he is.
You know who he is.
Great.
Awesome dude. And one night we were hanging out at his place, and he goes, man, you know, I want the opportunity to be a good actor in a movie, you know? I brought him in on the first film. He played the SEAL Chief Miller at the end of the film. That, if you haven't seen the film, there's a spoiler. His SEAL team comes in to rescue me, and the little girl I've been charged to take care of. And when he said that, I go, dude, we're gonna bring you in on the second one. Let's bring your character back, and we'll make that a bigger character in the beginning of the film. And I want, you know, for me, it's like it would be easy for me to hire Hollywood people, right? And I would probably get more money to make my movies, you know, if I brought in Hollywood people with big names to like pack movies with names and stuff like that. It's like sort of a Hollywood process. But I'd just rather work with good people, like just people that I, like, you know, bringing you on, bringing Mikey on, John, or whoever it might be. I find that more interesting than hiring actors. I don't really get along with actors, to be honest with you. I never did, even growing up in Hollywood, where I be on a movie set. Actors were always just like, it just seems so, and not all of them, you know, I'm kind of blanketing that term actor, but I never really got along with actors, you know? And I find that like people that aren't actors do just as fucking good of job acting in movies, and sometimes even a better job. And it makes the process even more enjoyable for me, you know, to work with you. You fucking crushed it on chapter 2. It was the first time that you and I worked together, and I remember you sent me some things, man. Hey, I want to do a great job. I said, breathe, relax. You know, I always say slow as molasses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like slow it down. Like, cause you know, the thing is, a lot of times with, especially when you're trying something new, you're going too fast to understand the process. And you crushed it. Paul crushed it, man. Remember sitting in the,
great,
hey,
yeah.
we were, and big shout out to Dave Sparks for, being a part of this project too.
That was awesome.
I've been blessed, man. I don't know what I did in my past life to be so lucky for this one, but
well, you're doing good things, and good things come, man. And it's, and yeah, you made that process for myself, for example. Like, man, I gave me some good pointers, and you're really good at directing. I saw it firsthand on set. You almost switch. I mean, you're still Johnny, but you kind of go into this other mode where you give direction, but you give it in a way that's understandable and not uncomfortable. You know, so for me, I was like, man, I'm going to be, and you know, we talked for a long time. I probably
it was probably like
stuff,
almost, I'd say 8 months, something like that. And I want to thank you, dude. That day was one of the hardest days to schedule for this film. Like, absolutely. Like, there were so many fucking moving parts. Maybe for people watching the podcast. So there's a sequence in the film with a Black Hawk helicopter with a whole lot of people involved. And it kept on getting pushed and getting pushed. And it was, I'll tell you an interesting story. So when I was writing the film, putting it together, I wanted to have an homage sort of to Black Hawk Down. It's what sort of my fan base really knows me well for.
Movie, by the way, I was so cool.
And so I was like, I should have a Black Hawk in the film to take my character into like an infill on the mission, And I remember a buddy of mine said, "Oh man, there's a guy in Utah named Dave Sparks who just bought a Black Hawk helicopter." And I remember he sent me a link to a video of him purchasing this Black Hawk and flying around and all this stuff. And I had the vision. I go, okay, we'll use that Black Hawk, and I'll bring Dave in to play a pilot or a crew chief or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Dave's face, and I had that vision. One thing led to the next. Somebody else had said, man, Dave is super busy. He's got a ton of things going on. It might be hard for you to nail down or whatever. So I said, I told my producer, I said, all right, well, just find me a Black Hawk, any kind of Black Hawk helicopter. So she found,
which is not easy to do.
Oh, fuck, man, try. Good luck with that.
Like a legit military Black
so
Hawk.
So she found a dude in Idaho, brand new, just decommissioned Black Hawk Army helicopter. They brought it in. And the guy was super great. He's like, absolutely, you guys can use the helicopter. We'll set it up for this date. So we locked the date, right? And I told you about it and all these people involved in the project. 2 weeks before, I got a bad feeling. I was like, it's not ready. It's not going to happen. So I said to my producer, I said, call them and find out if we're locked in, because we have all these people flying in. Like, it was this huge production day. She called and they were like, yeah, it's not going to be ready. It's not cleared by the FAA yet, blah, 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 blah. So they rescheduled, pushed the date. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. They
pushed the date. 2 weeks before that, I go, you better call, because I don't think it's going to happen. I was just getting these feelings, man, this intuition, My mom gave me gypsy blood, So she called again, same thing. Oh, it's not going to happen. Da, 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 da. So pushed it like a third time, same thing. Same intuition. I said, call. I don't think it's going to go. She called and said, is there anything we can do? Right. And he goes, well, I got a friend of mine, Dave, in Utah. He's got a Black Hawk. I'll hook you up with him. So gave her Dave's number. I called Dave and didn't pick up, and I was like, shit. So I left him a message, and then I texted him. I go, hey man, this is Johnny Strong, Black Hawk Down, Fast and Furious, blah, blah, blah. I'm shooting this movie. I don't know if you're busy or whatever. Man, I sent that text off. He hit me right back and was like, yo, dude, Black Hawk Down's my favorite movie. He's like, that's why I bought a Black Hawk helicopter. He's like, what do you need? I was
the
like,
universe connecting,
yeah, man. I'll tell you what, that's God, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the creator.
Yep.
Giving me the vision. And then, man, I can't tell you why I do it, but sometimes I fight the vision. And I don't know if it's doubt or second guessing myself or whatever it might be. I'm still in the process of I was telling a buddy of mine, when the creator gives me these things, my fight is to allow it. It's to allow it, to accept it, because, man, I don't know what it is, but I want to direct that ship. I want to guide it, and sometimes I just have to remind myself, just stop, just relax, allow the universe and God to guide you down the path, so that's really my journey is trying not to fight that, but I do. So anyways, I fought that vision, and God was like, hey man, that is the vision. Just relax. Don't fucking fight it, and so I was like, man, and Dave goes, yeah, man, what do you need? I was like, man, I have this thing, and I explained to him what's going on, and he's like, can I be in the movie? I was like, that's the fucking plan. That's the vision. That was what was given to me. And so we made it happen, man. It was like And you up into the last day, man, that morning I woke up, right? And we're in the middle of the desert. Everyone's been flown in. We all drove in for this one sequence. And we wake up, man, the fucking trees are sideways, bro. There's 45-mile-per-hour wind out there in the desert. And I was like, man. And
of course, the day you're going to shoot.
me and the producer look at each other and I go, don't call, don't text, nothing. Let's just get everyone out there and we just go. You know, what's going to happen is going to happen. And that morning, we got a call and they were like, how's the weather out there? And we're literally standing in a desert that's a fucking, like being in a sandblast cabinet. Like just wind is just, sand is going sideways. We're just getting pelted. Yeah, weather's good. A little windy out here. So we got the bird out, man, and fucking shot that day. And it was amazing. Like there was a moment where Jose was one, he was like our lead camera guy that day. Shout out to Jose. He was behind the camera watching as you and me and Paul and Robert were doing this scene. And I remember there was one moment where I looked up and the producer, Kate, and Jose were like they had this look like kids watching this scene come together because they're huge fans of the first film as well. And I was there in the scene hearing all of that dialogue, you know, that I've written, and you guys as the actors making that come to fruition and bringing it to life. And it was magic, man. It's magic. I like to make magic. Like that's my job here, you know, like on this planet, like to be a shaman and create that magic. And really it just comes from God and he's gifting that. And that all coming together was just a beautiful gift, you know?
Yeah, no, I remember that day because I was thinking the same. Been quite a few helicopters. Like, these guys are probably going to say, no, I'm not landing there.
Right.
Because you couldn't see. Like,
bro, it was
trying to eat a sandwich, it was full of sand. You know, like it was windy and literally you couldn't see it. It looked like a scene from Star Wars. It was white. It was sandy and it was
gnarly.
Brutal, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was, but like you said, I think you really nailed it there. Like, sometimes you have to let go of the steering wheel. As long as you put in the right frequencies and energy and passion or whatever, you can have those times like, man, I don't know. And it somehow works out if you allow it to. And that clearly did. And I think a lot of, you know, folks like yourself, I'm the same way where, man, I don't know, but I'm doing all the right things to get to that point. Somehow it works out, man. It just works out when you let go. As long as you're doing those things of right things to get there, I think.
Well,
God
the times
provides.
it doesn't, Wes, the times it doesn't work out is the illusion that you're trying to go in a different direction that God or the universe doesn't want you to go in. You know what I mean? When you're fighting that, that's when you're like, man, why isn't this working out? Well, that's not the way it's going to be. That's why. You know,
it's like letting water flow. If you watch water, it goes a certain way.
It'll go the way it's going to go.
You know,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's, you know, the philosophy of Warhorse One and a piece of what I sort of deal with in my everyday life. I don't know if things happen for a reason, if it's fate, destiny, or the hand of God. You know, that, and I put that in the first film for the character to be dealing with as well, you know. I don't know if the things that happen to us in this life happen for a reason, meaning like, why did we meet? Why are we sitting here right now sharing the same air, you know? Is there a reason for that? Or is that just like if you took a rock at the top of a mountain and tossed it down and it just tumbled down the path that it follows, right? Or leads, or however you want to describe that. Was that for a reason that it went in those directions, or it's just that's what the rock does? So I don't know if this is destiny, but
no, that's always my thought on that. I think every word you say, every action you make, everything you do has some kind of ripple effect somewhere.
Yeah.
It could be a conversation or a person you meet that you're meant to meet them for a reason, whatever
Sure.
that may be. It could be long-term, short-term, and accepting that as, so it's doing things with truth because it has an effect. What you say matters. A lot of people have, it doesn't matter what I think or say. No, it does.
Sure.
You know, and these things have a ripple effects on other people.
Well, I think that's if somebody says, it doesn't matter, I think you're discounting um, the grace of God. You're discounting that this is meaningless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I was younger, there were times I thought that it was meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
And as my life has progressed, I've been shown and gifted things that are beyond this material world.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be a dishonor for me to discount that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so that's why every day is lived in honor of the gift of this life, you know? So, and I can't tell you how blessed I am that you and everybody else that have really given time and energy to me for this project of mine. It makes it so special, and all I can do is be all in, you know, like every day working on this to honor that, you know.
No, yeah, I think you do a great job. When we first met out in the parking lot, it was the first thing you said. It's a great day. It's just having gratitude for sharing moments, being in this open air and being in this moment.
Yeah,
because like as you said, it's gone quick, and it's easy to look at the tragedies of life. A lot of people live in tragedy. We could do that all day, but you could get up, say, making my tea or coffee, I'm going to make that a moment, or talking to this person. You can switch that gear from tragedy to gratitude, you know, and it's not easy to do, but you got to switch the way you think. And a lot of times, even if something bad happens, you know, finding some meaning behind it that will make something better versus worse. And I think even a lot of guys that will be listening to this podcast or watching your movies, a lot of guys live in this, everybody suffers and goes through a lot of things. And it's inspiring to see folks that can find ways to find a way to make it up the hill and to be grateful for what you have.
Mindset, Wes. I mean, they've done experiments with water, you know, like, and with certain words and vibrations that'll like change the molecular structure of those atoms and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's mindset.
And that was going to be, because I'm running a little short on time. I got so many things.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is your mindset, man? How do you, because you're going to have your bad days, and I know you work hard, man. I know you're on the move. Like, what's your why? What keeps you fueled, that mindset is there certain practices you have? Do you get up and do you meditate? Do you pray? Do you just go with feeling? Like, how do you program yourself to continue doing what you're doing in such a positive manner with all these things that happen, like the logistics and all the bad things?
Those aren't bad things. That's really the mindset. Is there are no bad days. There are no bad things. It just is life. That's it. You know, I think, you know, if you look at a situation like, I can't believe this happened to me. That's just your life, man. You know, and I think if you go into every situation, no matter what it is, right? And you just look at it as that is the process, that's the journey, then you don't have bad days. You don't have bad things happen to you. It is just what it is, you know? Mm-hmm. You only suffer if you truly don't understand how to enjoy the suffering, like we talked about earlier. Every day is, am I upset that I haven't been able to do jujitsu for a couple months? Yeah, it kind of sucks that I haven't been able to train, but at the end of the day, it's okay. I'm doing other things. I'm that part of my journey isn't for that. You know, that it's each step you take, you know, is that particular step. You know, so my mindset is just every day you get is a gift. It's a gift, and treat it as a gift and honor that gift by trying to be the, you know, as cliche as it might sound, but being the best version of yourself, like putting every fucking ounce of energy you can into just crushing what you want to do, you know? Yeah. So
I think guys like yourself, and there's so many things that you want to do in life and so many different passions. You have, there's days I want to go to the range or want to go train or whatever. And you just can't. You can only do so many things. So the one thing that you can do and are doing, do the best at that,
Absolutely.
Because I know you get pulled and then you're, man, I need to be training here. But you can only do so much with the time you have. So allotting yourself that time to make the best of that moment that you're in. Like right now, we're in a podcast. In the past, I'd be thinking, well, I got this, that, and the other. I'm going to be in this moment, enjoy this moment, learn from this moment, and embrace this moment. And this is a great moment. This is amazing. Yeah. And then there's times where it's like, man, I got to do something I don't really enjoy, but it has to get done. This needs to get done. And who's going to do it? I have to do it. I'm going to do it the best. Or when you have
time, right? All we get, Wes, is time. So within each moment, if you look at even the most menial bullshit task, right? If you look at that as a pain in the ass, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it with the concept of, I get this time to do this thing, it's a blessing. Yeah. Whatever that might be. Even if it's, most people go, oh man, I can't believe you fucking, I'll just think of the most random thing I could think of, right? A piece of metal that gets stuck in my eye because I'm at a Queens of the Stone Age concert and it's pouring rain and Queens is fucking playing. And I look up and there's this, the venue had these metal rafters and I looked up and I thought, wow, how great is it that I'm not in the fucking rain right now and a drop of water comes and hits me right in the eyeball. One fucking drop of water right in the eyeball. And I wipe it like that. And the next morning I wake up and I can't open my eye because it's swollen shut. So I go to the emergency room and they open it up and they see a giant piece of metal that's embedded itself in my fucking eyeball. I could look at it, that period of time, go, oh man, this fucking sucks. Or I just go, just what it is. This is my time on it. Fuck, what a great concert. What a fucking great moment. And then having a fucking eye doctor on a golf course 2 hours away. Specialists have to get in his Porsche and drive to fucking the hospital to take a fucking giant needle and try to pry it out of my eyeball and then stop and then say, okay, all right, that's enough for now. And I go, well, why? And he goes, well, if I go too much or it fucking pulls, we could pop your eyeball. And I go, well, how do you fix that? They go, oh, super glue is like the fucking one of the only substances that'll stop this fucking. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But those are great moments. As crazy and as fucked up as certain things. Yeah, it's just how you deal with it. And I know a lot, like Paul. He's a great example of a friend. Dude,
I want to get him on here too.
Man, you got to get him. But Paul, what a great dude. Like, lost his arm and his leg to a fucking shark attack diving. But man, what a stud.
And now
he's savage. Sharks, he just crushes it. But that's the type of mentality. And those are the type of people that I want to be surrounded by that have that same kind of mindset. There are a lot of people out there that, oh man, this sucks, that like, think about like people that go on the internet and fucking write shitty comments. Like, what kind of fucking horrible existence do you have to have where that's what you spend your time fucking doing? Like, good. I feel bad. I feel sorry for these people that go through life like that,
It's projecting their own feelings onto somebody else. Really, I think when it comes down, when somebody's that negative about something, they're just putting. So yeah, no, we talk about that because we see in all. If you're doing things in life, you're gonna have that happen.
Yeah,
it's just part of the process.
You're either. So I always kind of make this kind of analogy where it's like comic books, right? A lot of people that read comic books, right? They open them up, man, Batman, that's me. At the end of the day, most people in the comic books, they're the guys going, look, it's Batman. Not a lot of motherfuckers really, dedicate themselves to being superheroes in this life. And really, that's the gift, right? They say with great power comes great responsibility or something like that. Mm-hmm. Some Spider-Man fucking thing or whatever, or Stan Lee or whatever. But this life is so precious that be a superhero in this life, you know?
Yeah, be your own superhero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you have that. Everybody has that ability to do that.
You can do it.
Like
Anyone can do it. Yeah.
That's what's every day is a new page, a new story. You can stop writing your old story and start writing a new story at any freaking moment.
Yep.
Not living in the past. The past brings you nothing. You know, learn from it, or if good things happen, still inspire you. Great. But allow people, or that thing that happened, it fell on me out. You could be like, man, I should have went to that concert. I should have. It's done. What is done, and that is past. So let me going forward. Yeah, you got to keep
my
moving.
eyeball. Let's get back in the fucking game.
Keep in the fight, man.
That's that thing. Go rogue and like I said, you know, our society doesn't foster that kind of attitude.
They don't want that.
They don't want that.
It's somebody that they can't control. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, they want everybody like sit down, class, pay attention, do this thing. They all want that fucking worker bee shit, that Rockefeller fucking nonsense.
You know,
at the end,
and that's good. That's why we need guys, superheroes that are out there breaking those rules. You know? And
fuck yeah.
That's what this country is built on. That's what life's about. Jesus was that way. The greatest were that way. Socrates, all of them put in prison, all kinds of stuff. Seneca, the ones that were breaking the rules and laws and speaking the truth were punished by that system. So we need rebellious, rogue people.
Absolutely.
Those are the superheroes. Why do we love Batman? Why do we love Wolverine?
Well, yeah.
They're like breaking rules, man. That. We love that stuff, and we need the adventure.
And who was it? I think it was Elon Musk was saying something that we celebrate that kind of stuff in art, right? Where it's like you root for Luke Skywalker and Han Solo in the rebellion, but they don't do it in real life. Like they want to fucking follow the protocol and be obedient in reality, but they live it out in the art form where it's like this secret thing of like, fuck yeah, I want to rebel. But most people are fucking afraid to do it in their life.
Scary, yeah. But that's where the juice is, you know.
Fucking A, man.
You know, and it's
yo-ho.
We need more people doing that.
Pirate's life for me, brother.
Yeah.
Like, all day, you know.
Well, okay, so first of all, go check out Warhorse 1. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can get that. You can go watch that right now. Get ready for the second part that's coming out. So support Johnny. Go watch it, Amazon Prime. It's 5 stars. It's freaking glorious. I've watched it 3 or 4 times. Everybody I know loves it. So go see that so you're prepared for what's coming next. I like to try to end these with, if you could meet anybody throughout history, anytime, and spend an hour with that person, who would that be and why?
Who, me? You talking to me?
Yeah. Anybody throughout history that you could spend an hour with.
God, that'd be a tough one. That'd be a tough one. God. I would like to sit with God.
So, yeah, that's a heavy one. Yeah, that's a good one too. And I think we can all sit with God that lives within us if we embrace Him, and because that is the ultimate truth and the ultimate end and beginning. So now it's a great one. John, it was great talking. I know. So I'll say this because Johnny will never say this. This is one cool guy doing cool stuff. He lives the life that he portrays in his movies, and all that he does, he goes all out. He's a black belt. He's a freaking awesome rock star.
Don't tell anybody.
You got his music. I'm like, dude, your band. I mean, there's so many cool projects. Even his art, his storyboards. I'm like, you drew this out, sketched that up. I'm like, the dude is so talented in so many ways, and he will never say it. And he's just a cool guy, and his mindset and his philosophies of life, and a good person. The dude that will have your back and be there. And he's helped me out in ways, and a lot of other folks. So support Johnny, his projects, see his movies, and if you see this guy, go up to him and give him a big hug and a kiss.
No, man. Yeah, none of that's true.
It's true, and he won't say it, but I can say it. So love what you're doing, Johnny, and thank you for opening doors to a lot of folks, including myself. Maybe this led me back to doing this again. So keep doing what you're doing, because it's definitely felt and noted. And love having you here, man. And we'll have Johnny back after the next one comes out. We'll have him back on, and go see his film, support him, and keep kicking ass in life. And
love you, brother.
Yeah, love you, man. Thank you for all that you are, man.
Always.
Right on.
Yeah, man.